was considered, or if just teacher planning time was considered. Were things like the education of students in pull-out services, ESOL students, gifted students, students who have OT and other pull-out students, were they considered? How this would impact them? What about children whose IEPs were written to require a specific number of minutes of intervention per week? Was that considered? Obviously, our teachers will make accommodations for them to make sure that their IEPs are met, but what impact will it have both on the children and on the teachers who teach those children? Was cost considered? We know now that it's going to cost families $600 per week to put their children in after-school daycare. $600 per child per week. Was that considered beforehand? I don't think it could have been. I know Ms. Nisi's looking confused because it's on the agenda for today, so we know that. So that couldn't have been considered because we didn't know it until very recently. And what about the families who rely on after-school daycare outside of the school? Were those community daycares consulted to find out what impact it would have on their families? And importantly, we had limited early release last year. Did we give an opportunity to get feedback on the efficacy of teacher planning, how it worked, and maybe more importantly, how it impacted the learning environment when we had early release? So if you ask teachers, students, administrators, and families what is going on, they will tell you. But this decision was made without consulting any of those groups, and we didn't have an opportunity to weigh in. And that seems somewhat undemocratic, to treat it as only a contract issue when it certainly is more than a contract issue. And I think maybe the bigger problem, too, is there was no real root cause analysis done here. We didn't look at why are we having an issue of teacher planning time. And if we did that, we could look back and see that this really stems from where our planning time was lost, which was really in the implementation of the SSNP. So if we do that and do a root cause analysis, get to the bottom of the problem, then we could fix it without sort of putting a Band-Aid on a proverbial gunshot wound. So going forward, I hope we could kind of work together to solve the problem. Thanks.